Yeah, so morning, Mike. Yeah, it's foggy outside. Warm air hitting the cold, I'm guessing. And in fact, while we're talking about that, Southern Ontario's weather is set to warm up, with it potentially being in the teens later in the week.
So is this is day 63 of the year? Am I right about that?
You're probably right about that. Yeah.
There we go.
Why? Yep.
I was wondering when I should start doing my Christmas shopping.
Oh, you haven't done that already?
Yeah,
I
I'm always
mean, I
behind.
mean, it's going to be on you. It's going to be on you soon.
I'm
So
always behind.
what is this? The third? Is this the third fake spring as the year? Is it?
Yeah. Look, I better start because I don't want the because I expect that the price of everything will be about triple by the time Christmas really does come along because we're not in any kind of inflation. Like I really trust I really trust the guy down south saying there is no inflation. We've got it under control. It keeps popping up
Okay.
all over the place.
Yeah, we're just impacting the stock exchange and other stuff like that. Yeah,
Gas prices already gone up.
yeah.
God,
As if we're
God.
in the midsummer, situation. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So basically, it's expected we're going to be warming up this week here in southern Ontario. Right. With
Well,
You might actually see the rest of the snow or some of large chunks of snow melting. My driveway is now clear because the sun shines on it, but I've still got two inches of snow where I park my car. So I'm getting into my car with a 2 inch lip, but 2 inch lift up from where I normally would get in.
oh, it makes it easier for you to get in your car. Well,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah. I'm kind of saying, well, stay snow, but it won't.
Yeah. Can you make me a little step of ice here? But look, I think winter ain't over till May 1st. Like I hate to tell everybody that, but we may be getting. It ain't gonna be like chill to the bone, massive snowstorms, that kind of thing coming forward. Although March can be pretty brutal too.
Yeah.
But March is a winter month. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
The
I know.
equinox comes on the 21st, but the March and April is a half and half month. You get snowstorms. We get some pretty big snowstorms in April. So do not be too confident in wonderful weather yet. We always make that. We always think, well, March is here. The same thing happens every year. Everybody bums out. Hey, how come the weather's not nice in March? This should be spring. What's going on? It's a ripoff. It never is.
Mm.
March is a winter
Well,
month,
it's
and
not
it
like
can
we live in
snow and it can
London.
be cold.
Yeah. It's not like we live in London, England, where the daffodils are already up and shining by February.
Well, I've seen the snowdrops. What do they call it? Snowbells, little snowbells.
Yeah,
I've seen them breaking through the snow in March, and some of the daffodils in late March breaking through. But
yeah,
crocus, actually, the crocus are next. So it's the snowbells first. The little wee snowbells they break through the snow, and then the crocuses, and after that, then the daffodils come.
mm. Yeah.
But
We,
that's a
we
little
see
ways off yet.
in England it's a lot different because we get snow. We get the daffs coming in February. The daffs and all those kind of things coming in February. We don't, but again, we don't get as cold in England, in London, England, as it is here.
Yeah, but
Sometimes
you're
feels sometimes feels colder, because hey, 5 degrees in London can often feel worse than -5 in Niagara Falls.
is that
And
way they
Mike's
call British
basically
people
saying,
daffy?
freezing rain season.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're looking at some pretty
Yeah.
Well, and you're looking more at flu season coming too. So I want to be the voice of joy here. Flu, cold, miserable times ahead, snowstorms, ice storms. But don't think you're out of the woods until May 1st.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
you don't get to
Oh,
complain to the big guy upstairs until May 1st. And then if it's
no.
still bad weather after that, then you go straight to your church and put in a petition.
Well, it's going to be. You see, some of these snowbanks that we've got this year may well take until June 15th to thaw out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of the mega ones that are in the car parks.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, that notwithstanding, so we're gonna get a break in the weather. Basically, I'm only being. It's not going to be frigidly cold. We had a deep freeze during our winter, but that's done now, and it's just a matter of waiting. We're going to get a little bit of snow here, a little bit of ice here, wind. It's going to go up. The weather's going to go up. Everybody's going to throw on a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. A week later, it's going to go back to freezing. Everybody's going to complain. Hey, when's this going to end? But just stay patient until the 1st of May. And like I said, if it's and if you're farther up north, you got to wait almost to the long weekend.
And of course, the other question there is, of course, how many Ontarians are using barbecue season right now? You know, hey, when the weather warms up a bit, you can go out in your shorts and you can fire up the barbie, can't you?
Well, some people fire up the barbecue with their snowsuits on, so sometimes
I know.
Some people.
Well, in fact, actually, when I first came here, I was looking at places to buy, and when I went to one address, there was a gentleman on the porch at -5 in his shorts barbecuing.
There you go. There's a real Canadian for you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, just kind of, whoa, get it. You know, the Australians know nothing about barbecuing, do they?
Yeah. So look, basically, people in Southern Ontario are wimps. They complain, and if you go farther north, they accept winter. They stay out in winter. They get the best. They have their snowmobiles out. They hike. They ski. They skate right to the very last minute up there. They accept winter as it is. Down here, we cry and moan and somehow think that every year we are besotted. We are overwhelmed by winter. Unfairly, Mother Nature puts this on us, and everybody gets 2 weeks into winter. Everybody says, "Oh, I'm done with this. I'm so bored with this. It's got to be over." Well, it never is. So I would say that people in Southern Ontario, man up, come on.
Yeah,
it's going to be over when it's over.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Ford is basically was speaking at the Prospectors and Developers Association of Canada at their convention at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, and he's saying work will begin this year to connect Ontario's highways to the Ring of Fire with access roads to the mineral-rich area, and they've got agreement of Wabekwi and Martin Falls First Nations, but they've still not got agreement with Neskantaga First Nation, who feel left out.
And one of the reasons why they feel left out is because even now, 31 years, they have had to use boil water. They have to still boil the water in order for it to be drinkable for 31 years.
Yeah.
Now, of course, this isn't of course, you think, well, the province, how come the province has stepped in here? Well, it's not the province's problem. It is the federal government's problem.
But
they're the ones that need to fix it.
I accept that it's the federal government's problem, but I accept that if Ford wants to move forward with this, probably stepping up and helping that community might well be a good thing for Ford's government.
Yeah, I would definitely think that that, yeah, he would. But remember, this is also very important federally.
Yeah.
This is the Ring of Fire. The Ring
Yeah.
of Fire has in it, it has copper, nickel, platinum, titanium, and chromite. Right, chromite, of course, is what we need for stainless steel. And there's going to be more and more of that use going on. And there's other things there too. I think palladium is another thing that is, or palladium, is it? Something like that is there too. So a lot of these things,
Okay.
this is a big, big, big money. The Ring of Fire, I found out, was actually named after the song Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash, because they found this crescent shape of rich minerals in the heart of Northern Ontario, west of James Bay, south of Hudson's Bay, right where the James Bay and Hudson Bay kind of get together. If you go west of James Bay and it's just directly south of it, right into the heart of Northern Ontario, there it is. And they've known about it for a very long time. Rich deposits.
Yeah.
And now it's time to open them up. And most of the native communities up there are accepting this, and they can see it as a way of bringing some kind of prosperity and hope and future for their kids. There's a mining industry that they can work at. They can break out of their isolation, which probably in the long run be a very good thing.
But you get what I'm saying
about
the
roads they're cutting through there will also be cut away the isolation of those communities as well.
Yeah, but you can see what I'm saying about how that could by the province stepping up and helping the Neskantaga First Nation might well be a wise thing in terms of getting it done, because they're going to be a lot of the workforce up on those in the Ring of Fire anyway, aren't they?
Well, hopefully, yes. Hopefully, yeah. You could train young men and young women to be miners, welders, millwrights, electricians, you name it. They're going to need it. They're going to need mining technicians. They're going to be guys, and the money is going to be boundless because those products are going to be required not only by our big greedy southern neighbor. I have a feeling once the orangutan is out of office, a lot of these,
these are not
a lot of these minerals will lose their tariff because the U.S. cannot produce as much of it that they need themselves.
It won't be available until he's out of office anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They are mining up there. I know they are already mining up there because
I know that. But what I'm saying is
my union has sent workers up there.
Yeah, and I know they're mining up there. What I'm saying is they're not, because of the lack of roads, getting stuff in and out of there is extremely limited till 2030 anyway. 2031, I think they're saying.
Well, this is all planning. This should have been done long ago, and I kind of
agreed.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing about this is, like, under the Wynne government or whatever, they really walk into a wall of trying to appease environmentalists and so it's just easier for them not to do anything about it. That's difficult. The one thing you talk about, like, you can complain about Ford all you want, but he gets stuff done. He does. He gets stuff done, whether you like the stuff he gets done or not. But he does get stuff done. Whereas the Wynne and the McGuinty government, it was all stalling. Can't do this. Can't do that. Hey, we can't do that because the thumbnail of a dragonfly might get hurt if we bomb that. If we do a road through that swamp.
Here's a question for you. I don't think you said anything like this, but still, Ricky's asking, why do you think Trump is leaving? I don't think you said anything about that.
I think, yeah, I get what he's saying. Yeah, because Trump does not think he will. He's already saying 2028. He wants to run for president in 2028, and the sycophants around him will. Now, that's a very, very hard thing to do, but he's looking at different angles and ways in which that can be done. and he's really got a bunch of Republicans that will lay over, will just bury themselves for him. They're so afraid of him. Well, yeah, we say it's not going to happen, but you don't know what he's going to do, and especially in these midterms coming up, you don't know what he's going to do. The way he's messing with the elections, and how they're monitoring elections, even though they're supposed to be state run. We don't know what kind of meddling he's going to do. He's already got, he's already been able to skirt the Constitution a few times already. So I get it, what Rick says. Like, definitely Trump will want to stay for the next term, 2028. He wants a dynasty.
And he's saying War Act. Well, that has never saved a president in the past.
Possibly, but believe me, that could cause a civil war in the States. But they have, believe me, though, the people who are behind him think that they're using Trump as a means by which of saving Western civilization.
Yeah. All right.
As Rubio is saying that, and Vance is saying that, and others are saying that, that's why they let him get away with everything under the sun, because they see this as a means of saving Western civilization. Vance has said it. Rubio has just said it in Europe. These people are motivated by almost a religious fervor of saving Western civilization. So,
which is a nonsense.
If they think abrogating abrogating democracy in the U.S. is a means to do that, they will do that.
Yeah, but that is a complete nonsense. Anyway, Mike is saying, look, remember, 75% to get back to the Ring of Fire. 75% of the world's mining corporations are listed as Canadian. That is powerful, and they've been waiting for decades to get at the Ring of Fire.
Right? Yes, they have, and I denounce our federal and provincial politicians who have been so stodgy in opening this up. They really put it on the back burner because it was a difficult thing to do. I think it's perfect now, though, because you're going to get a lot less resistance, or the resistance is going to be a lot less effective, because we are in a situation, we're in a trade war with our closest and biggest trading partner, the United States. And it's very, very clear to us that we need markets all over the world. And it's very clear to us we have to be self-sustaining.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So and that's coming from people like Harper, who's kind of joined in with Carney, and even Polyev is falling in line. Yeah, this has to happen. We have to. There are things we can do to make ourselves stronger and less reliant, but produce, and look at. Now, I like to skip it a bit and go right to the deal that Carney has made with India.
Yeah.
So we just talked about the Ring of Fire opening up in Ontario, and all the prosperity that hopes to bring to the Native communities up there, as well as Ontario as a whole, and as a result to Canada too. But in India, Carney's gone over there and he's kind of made friends with Modi. He's shaken off the sort of problems we had with India that were during the Justin Trudeau era. And now he's made friends again with Modi. And what did Modi say to him? If you got it, we'll buy it. And he's talking about oil, natural gas, and uranium principally. You got it, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
We will buy anything you have.
In fact, if you think about that for a moment, they will buy anything that they have, because at the moment they are tied in by Russia. They're limited in what they get, because even though they're in that trading alliance with Russia, India's always been treated by Russia and China as being the poor partner. And in fact, India wants to develop its industry, wants to develop everything, and oil is a part of that.
Well, Yeah, oil, natural gas, and uranium. And a big deal with uranium. They'll take
Yeah.
as much uranium we can give them because they, of course, have nuclear power stations, and they're going to need more and more of those
Yeah.
source of power, which is the uranium. And the world's largest supply of uranium is in Saskatchewan. So
Hmm.
there we
Yeah.
have it. Um, oil, gas, oil, natural gas, and pretty much what he says: if you got it to sell, we'll buy it,
Yeah. Yeah.
which will stimulate the uh, which will stimulate the markets here because investors love that kind of thing. They're assured of a market. They put money into LNG, they put money into oil, they put money into uranium mining. They know they're going to get a return
Yeah.
because we just made a deal with the largest country in the world, largest population in the world.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
is that's going to be a sustained market for a very, very long
Well,
time. Generations,
yeah.
generations of selling LNG, oil,
And the mere
and
fact,
uranium, not to mention other things.
and the mere fact of India being in the BRICS alliance in this regard, it matters not, because in fact, um, I always suspected that Russia and China have always kind of denigrated India, never really given them the the respect they truly deserve.
Well, they're all in the BRICS trading network, but India has always had a kind of a non-aligned look at the world quite often. And
Yeah.
if it sees a positive, like Canada is a safe nation, like we're trying to expand our trade because a lot of it's cut off from the states, and ironically, the states is what's made us a very safe place to do business.
Yeah.
Because of
Oh, yeah.
our big neighbor down below, so that our hemisphere is very safe, so we can produce these things safely and reliably.
Yeah.
And you make an order with us, we're going to deliver.
Yeah.
They're also getting huge amounts of coal from BC as well. BC is still a coal producer, and they've made arrangements to get a lot of coal from them. You would have thought they would have got it from Australia, which is much closer, but apparently they're getting massive amounts of coal
Uh,
from BC.
with coal, more perhaps more so than oil, it's not about quantities or closeness, it's about the quality of the coal.
Now that all depends. When high quality coal quite often has, with a lot of BTU in it, quite often has a lot of sulfur in it as well. So there's that issue there. For
Mhm.
instance, here when we use coal to drive our big coal plant at Nanacoke, they had to experiment with a lot of different coals. So initially, they used a very rich, high grade coal that came from Pennsylvania, the anthracite, but that was very polluting. But it was extremely had extremely a lot of good BTU in it.
Yeah.
So that what they ended up doing is getting was a blue Wyoming blue or something like that, a kind of coal that was has less BTU in it, but also less sulfur in it. And they had to use a mix of 10 to 1, something like that, to get the perfect mix. Um, I don't know. I forget
Yeah,
the,
Mike, you're
what
correct.
the
There
difference
is
is of.
actually a little sliver of land, and there is only between those two nations, India and China, there is only a small slither of land which they have in common, and they've been fighting on that slither of land for years. That's very true. Thank you for pointing that out. And given how big those two nations are, there's only it's less than 100-kilometer border between the two nations, right?
Well, 20 Indian soldiers lost their lives there on a border
Yeah,
spat with India. Not a
yeah,
lot. Well,
yeah.
since the timing's gone, I think it was a year and a half
Probably a
ago.
year or so ago, maybe two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I remember
that's
that
no joke,
incident as
really.
well. Yeah, yeah.
So
All right.
this is a very, very good news thing. Now, like Carney's been going around the world making up trade deals. I think all he's doing really is taking opportunities that were there all along that were
Yeah,
ignored. because people were just too lazy in this country to go pursue those trade deals.
Yep.
And now the gun is put to our head with tariffs from our big neighbors down south. So now it's time to
he's done exactly what Canada needs right now.
In a sense, it's lit a fire under us. It's lit like I don't like the guy one bit, but I'll say a couple of positive things that happened. One thing is got us going around the world, making trade deals. It's kind of matured us as a nation. Basically, we're down to practical ideas again. We're out of the idealistic universe. We're back down to practical.
Yeah.
You know, what is good for the country realistically.
Yeah. And I think that is why right at the moment the current political outlook in our nation at the federal level, there's less friction between Poilievre and Carney right now, because I think Poilievre is generally, and the Conservatives are generally supportive of what, they're critical. They would be critical. It's nature of being in opposition, but they're generally supportive of what Carney is doing to help to improve the economic well-being of the country.
Yeah, and the other thing I would like to point out is our defense. One thing that's always embarrassed me over and over again was we couldn't live up to our 2% commitment to the UN. And every other nation didn't do that as well because they were relying on the United States. Well, one of the things that Trump did for us is got us moving on our own protection. And just in the nick of time, too, because look what's happening. You know, I mean, we had the Russia-Ukraine war. Nobody was prepared for that. None of the EU nations had enough money being put into their own defense. They're kind of leaning on the U.S. to protect them. And now they're all putting so much money into it. They're not putting 2% in anymore. They're putting 5%. And so will Canada put 5% of it, which was thought to be unthinkable not long ago. So the world has changed. And if the big orangutan, we can give him credit for that because whatever his motives were, it woke us up, and whatever his motives are on trade also woke us up. Yeah, and we will become a more independent and stronger nation because of it. Absolutely. So those are the things. Like the orangutan certainly did not want to help us in any way, but he did in the long run help us because now we're going to build our own better, fuller army. And somebody says, "What doing
in Germany? Which Pierre?"
I think he's doing in Germany. Well, Pierre was in Britain. Poilievre was in Britain the other day talking to a bunch of conservatives in Britain. I mean, real conservatives, not MAGA type conservatives, real conservatives, people with conservative attitudes about business, government, etc. Theresa May was there, which I don't think was a good look. She was the shortest serving prime minister of Britain. But anyway, there was he pretty much talked and was very favorably received as conservatism. However, socialism might have got out of hand, but socialism in normally tries to share some of that wealth, et cetera, et cetera. So it's that kind of thing. It's good to have just good, honest, ordinary, everyday conservatives. It was kind of nice for me to watch that because it kind of remember what a conservative really should be like, not a warmongering egomaniac that's in the States there. But anyway, what he did in Germany, I don't know what Pierre did in Germany. I don't know
what he's doing in Germany either. I've not seen any news reports. I'd seen some stories about UK. That didn't surprise me at all because, in fact, the heart of conservatism in the UK is probably as strong today as it has ever been. And the issue about it is, when you think about it, that conservatives have been the party of power in the UK for the last 150 years.
Yeah, I'm just looking up to see.
Labour gets in. Labour gets in when the society, when people are fed up of what the Conservatives have done. And the last Conservative government were not that brilliant, were they?
Well,
They
he's going to
were,
go to Germany. He is going to go to Germany. All right. So right now he's in Britain. He's going to Britain and Germany. But the question was, what is he going to be doing in Germany? I don't know. And I'm trying to look at his agenda here. Today he'll be landing in Berlin.
mm-hmm.
He'll be doing the keynote speech on transatlantic relationships at the Conrad Foundation. Mr. Poilievre will have meetings with German officials and business leaders. So here he is. He is now. He's pretty much aping Carney. He's more a businessman. He isn't mouthing off that kind of attack dog, that kind of acerbic wit that he had. That was good against Trudeau, because Trudeau was kind of like flaky, new age,
exactly,
new age dude. Said all the right things, didn't do much. Clotted up the government. That kind of thing. Now Carney's come in, and he's Mr. Businessman, and he's a real businessman, and he's a real banker. And now Poilievre's got to follow suit. He's got to fall in line with the new style of politics in Canada.
Yeah.
But
right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely, and that's kind of why he would be there, and understand that, because essentially, I think what I'm hearing here is that talks with the UK may well be that, therefore, that we want to do a lot of similar things to what Carney is doing successfully. We want to develop trade relations, and that sounds about the same as what he wants in Germany.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
And the Conservatives, the Christian Democrats in Germany, and the Conservatives in Britain, parts of the strongest parts of conservatism in Europe.
Yeah, well, you're talking to, if you go to Germany, remember, it's still a powerhouse.
Oh yeah,
it's still industrial. It's still an industrial and economic powerhouse.
Yeah, very much an industrial and economic powerhouse. All right.
And they were pretty thirsty for any LNG or oil, or particularly LNG we could have provided to them, but we couldn't provide it to them. Because we spoke about this the other day, that we have an open market for an LNG, and yet we were left on our back heels. We did not. We really dragged our feet on developing LNG facilities. We could have sold LNG all over the world, not just Asia, but to Europe as well. And yet,
and that was an economic.
That
was an economic nightmare brought on by our former wise leader.
Yes, we could have, right from the very beginning of 2015, when he got in, we could have thrown a lot of money into LNG, and we could have been prepared to make scads of money, particularly Western Canada.
Yeah, all right.
So now we have two leaders, basically. We got Carney. He's setting the pace. He's looking like he's just like a pretty much very practical, centered fellow. Practical. How do we get stuff done? And Poilievre is following suit.
Yeah. And in fact, actually, so both of those movements out there are currently very good for Canada. Either way. Yeah. Okay. One thing that isn't good for Canada, though, is that North York, there was a shooting outside a synagogue. I don't know. There's attack fears now across Jewish communities across the whole of Canada, including, of course, our own here in Niagara. And this was pointed out by the Standard and the Tribune at the same time, and they're basically clearly centering on a community that's suffering a lot of anxiety right at the moment. And the direct trigger was the gunfire at the North York synagogue. But I was reading about that, and there wasn't actually. It's almost as if there wasn't actually. Haven't shown for certain that anybody shot up the synagogue or targeted the synagogue. All they're basically saying is the police said reports of gunshots around Bayview and 401, which is where the synagogue is located. Late at night, suspicious, I grant, but it may have not necessarily proven it to be synagogue related.
Well, are they even sure that it was gunshots?
Okay, fair question. Right, and again, reports of gunshots, and the police in their thing are saying they've got no details about any firearm, what types of firearms have been used. They actually don't know too much about it. It's just that there's been people have phoned in and called the police in relation to gunshots being heard.
This could be firecracker. I mean, there was a guy in my neighborhood down on Ontario Avenue for 20 years. He blew off firecrackers anytime he had a chance.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, I saw him driving around one time, throwing them out of his car. You know, so is there some nut bar with firecrackers? You know,
no, but I also
somebody
understand
trying to cause trouble.
Yeah,
like
I also understand
twisted sense of gaudy, like humor or something.
Yeah. But I understand, of course, why Jewish communities might feel fear in this particular thing, especially since obviously Netanyahu worked with Trump in getting the attack upon Iran moving, and of course, the other thing is that Israel has had a deadly attack, and they've killed 9 and destroyed a synagogue in Israel.
Well, basically what they're worried about mostly is negative public reaction to Jews because of what is happening in Gaza.
Yeah.
So they're relating what the IDF is doing in Gaza with Jewish community here. Now, the Jewish community may or may not support what's happening in Gaza. That's an individual thing. But they feel that they're being painted with the same brush. Whatever the IDF does, they are being accused of. They are afraid of a resurgence of anti-Semitism, but a different kind of anti-Semitism. This is not the kind of anti-Semitism that despises the very race of Jewish people. Remember, there's different kinds of anti-Semitism, but I don't really believe this is anti-Semit. Like if you're against what's happening in Gaza, which who I am, I'm not like, and then somebody says, well, I'm an anti-Semite because I'm against what's going on in Gaza, what the IDF and what the Israeli government's doing there. I mean, that doesn't really make any kind of sense to me. But if I'm the type of person that goes and starts shooting up a synagogue, well, then, yeah, I'm an anti-Semite, right? I'm trying to put harm upon innocent people. Even if there's guilty people guilty of something in there, it's not my place to do anything about that. You know what I mean? So so the kind of anti-Semitism they're worried about is a spillover from what's happening in Gaza mostly. Now, I don't think a whole lot of anti-Semitism is going to come down on them because of the Iranian thing, particularly when so many Iranians are happy that this is happening in some way or another, and this may be their hope of turning their country into
but again, it's not
a theocracy.
It's not about whether the majority of Iranians in Canada are happy about what's the outcome of the situation in Tehran. It's more about what some disaffiliated pro-Islamic groups who might well feel about this, and that's possibly striking at the heart of the Israeli or the Jewish community here in Toronto, Niagara, etc.
So, what are you saying, that the Islamic groups are the ones that are going to be anti-Semites?
In that case, is not the majority of Iranians.
Well, yeah, well, but there is no real, like, they're talking about, so first of all, let's point the anti-Semitism. Of course, the Jewish community is holding their head low because of what's happened in Gaza, and they're being blamed by association with the brutality in the West Bank and Gaza.
Yeah.
Okay. On the other hand, yeah, you may have some Islamic types, but most of them would be like free, like lone wolf type fools. Also, some people are just damned anti-Semitic. They just hate Jews, and they'll
I grant that. Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah.
that's been a part of Western civilization for over 1,000 years.
Yeah, granted.
It's kind of irrational hatred of Jews, but the same irrational hatred goes to Muslims as well. We have to, we have to remember that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that kind of hatred just is out there. I would hope, my biggest fear, of course, is some individual not going after them. I don't really think there's going to be an organized effort to go after Jews or Muslims. Basically, it's going to be lone wolf people who may have been radicalized online. Who knows? But like that guy in the States, the guy down in Austin, Texas, right? He was from Senegal. Now, here you go. They're saying, well, here you go. The Iranian cells have been activated, and this guy from Senegal, who is a Muslim, but he's a Sunni Muslim from Senegal, and he's got, I'm the property of Allah on him. But if you look into his past, he's got a long history of mental illness, and he starts shooting up people in Texas. Like, he is definitely not part of the Iranian cell.
Yeah.
One thing, he's Sunni, not Shia. Iranians are Shia Muslims. And for the next thing, like the other thing is, they wouldn't act in such a crude way, I don't think.
Yeah.
He's not even Iranian, and he's not Iranian, and he's not a Shia Muslim.
Yeah. Yeah. And the point being is that there is always the possibility, and there's always been the possibility, even ever since 9/11, that you can have some anti-West, anti-Israeli, Islamic nutcases out there doing the bidding of Al Qaeda or any other groups, and attacking Western or Jewish assets around the country anyway. It's been
people kill people for any excuse under the wood. Like, if they're in a rage mode, look at that kid out west. He killed 6 kids or 6 people. He was off his lid and he was enraged. Yeah. Any other day, you might have shot up some Jews, or another day, you might have shot up Muslims. Another day, you might have shot up indigenous people. I think it's because it's a ticking time bomb in somebody's head like that. And
like the Bondi Beach killings on the New Year.
Well, those were against the Jewish community by Islamic group, a couple of Islamic guys, brother or father and son, who became radicalized.
Yeah.
And well, we find that there was a mosque shot up in both a mosque and a synagogue shot up in, I think it was Montreal. So anyway, people are going to be stupid. There's going to be that stupid fool among everyone. You're going to get the idiot like the guy that shot up Tops Market. He got enraged. He was going to make sure that the replacement theory was going to take effect. So he shot up a lot of black people. When the black population of the United States is dropping at the same rate as the white population, and the black population was nowhere in a position to be able to replace the white population, but this imbecile just didn't know that, and he just went and saw somebody that looks different than him and shot up a supermarket and killed a lot of innocent people. That's the kind of mindset you're going to have to worry about.
Yeah.
That ticking time bomb of a brain is out there. One day it might be anti-Semitic, one day it might be Islamophobic, and another day it might be anti-black. It's just there's a rage trying to burst out of it. And unfortunately, I don't know, we're stuck with the people like that. And I hope that we find that the synagogue was not shot at. We do know that the girls' school a couple of years ago was shot at because there was bullet, damaged by bullets on the wall, and it was, it was very clear that that was a rifles that shot that.
Yeah.
I don't think they found any kind of damage on the synagogue, from what you're saying, and hopefully it's just
Not
some idiot that
from
was
the
doing
police reports.
firecrackers.
Not from the reports we've seen by the police. But again, that's a developing story. We may find out more in the next couple of days anyway.
Well, I had assumed they found shell casings, and they found damage to the building.
Yeah,
but I guess
okay. But when the police report says, when police is not releasing details of firearms used, that's not, it's not really helpful, is it?
Yeah, maybe it's just some jerk throwing firecrackers because he gets his jollies.
I get you. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. And with it being located where it's located at Bayview and 401, that's that's an area that a lot of people will go to anyway.
Well, it doesn't matter how many people are going to be there. It's who made the noise. Was it a gun? Was it a gun? Was it a backfire? Could be a number of different things. I have a feeling there's mischief afoot here, and somebody's throwing firecrackers. If they can't find any evidence of a gun, somebody's throwing firecrackers to get everybody all upset and thinks that's funny.
Yeah, and it's not in the least bit funny. I'm not impressed.
Right. Then you get all this, you get everybody talking about false flag stuff too, where somebody does that on purpose to draw attention, that kind of thing, to something that really isn't happening. It's a matter of time. The sleeper cells will be awoken. I'm not so sure, Rick. I'm not so sure. If the sleeper cells, like we mentioned before, the sleeper cells were supposed to take out Bolden, John Bolden. They were supposed to take out the president, Trump, right? If two inept gunmen got close to Trump and shot at him, even winged him in the air, and the other one was waiting for him in a golf course. If you had real pros, if you had a sleeper cell that was really trained for assassination, we would not have a Trump or John Bolden here anymore.
Absolutely.
Those people are now adequately. So the sleeper cells did not wake up when those fatwas were put out there.
Yeah, and let's also be honest. After this is a more correct statement, Rick. After COVID, there are more crazies out there. Absolutely, 100%, and we see them on a daily basis. I see them on a daily basis.
Well, yeah, there could be. I mean, it could be a legacy of COVID. I was talking about that with a friend of mine last night. We're talking about people we knew who had long COVID and suffered the effects of long COVID. Had a bad bout of COVID, and then we're left with long COVID, periodic effects of COVID coming forward. It could have affected their mind. Who knows?
Yeah.
All
right.
And the COVID did put a whole lot of strain on our society as well.
Yeah. Okay, moving on, and we haven't got much time left, but this with the Iran war, US bases and embassies are being attacked in retaliation by Iranian troops.
I don't think they did not anticipate this. Obviously, they got back on their back foot. They're so anxious to dump a bunch of bombs on Israel. Now, here's from Israel and the U.S. The issue here, of course, is that Rubio claimed that the United States had to take the initiative because they knew that Israel was going to bomb Iran. And if they bombed Iran, then the Americans felt that they would have then come under attack from the Iranians. So they had to preempt that strike. So they went in. When the Israelis went in, they went in to preempt them. None of that is any truth to it at all. Another explanation is the Iranians were preparing for the first strike. That's true. That's Trump's point of view. That's a big fat lie too. There's no way in the world that the mouse is going to attack the giant elephant when he isn't looking. When the giant elephant has more military assets in a place,
that said,
one place than it has since the Iran-Iraq war.
But that said, Trump
since the Iraqi war, pardon me.
Yeah, but Trump believed, according to Al Jazeera, Trump believed that Tehran was about to, strike.
Idiotic. That is a lie. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. You think that Tehran is going to attack the biggest power in the world, right?
I'm not making that assertion. This is what Al Jazeera is saying that Trump believed.
Well, I'm not saying you. I'm saying a rhetorical you.
Yeah,
okay, so there is absolutely no way that was going to happen. They needed an excuse. All right, they set this up. They got ready. They've been working on it for months, this attack. And they've been working with Israelis and their superior intelligence. I mean, the intelligence is an unbelievably miles ahead of anything anyone else has. So they were able to take out the Khomeini 48 heads of state, but the whole purpose of it is a big lie. Like the Iranians were about to have a nuclear weapon, right? So the president told us that it obliterated Iran's ability to make any kind of weapon. Then all of a sudden it says, oh, they started up again. You can't start up on a click of a finger. And that they were going to have nuclear bombs and missiles that will hit the USA. Big fat lie. No. I mean, they could have got a small nuclear bomb, one or two ready. They may have been able to launch them as far as Israel, but that's about it. And that was a reach in itself. Now, there was no imminent threat to the United States at all. The Iranians were in negotiations and were not going to preemptively strike the U.S. Yeah, really, seriously, right? My little army of mice are going to go attack your army of elephants.
One of the
so we'll get the advantage on you. We'll get the jump.
Yeah.
See,
one of the advantages that the US has is being, and we have ironically as well, is being surrounded on both sides by two massive oceans. It's going to take days for any armed troop to get across the Atlantic, and we're going to see them. It's going to take days, even longer, for them to get across the Pacific, and we're going to see them. We know where they're going before they even get anywhere near us.
Well, the very fact of the matter is that Iran was on the cusp of developing weapons that would reach the United States. Big fat lie. Yeah. It's almost exactly the same kind of story that George Bush did with the Iraq War when they went after Saddam Hussein. Right? Almost exactly the same narrative.
And it's the same narrative.
The difference here is they may be able to cause regime change just by using air power. The whole idea of air power being able to cause regime change is always being debated. But in this particular case, because they have so much more air power, I mean, they have fighters, stealth fighters. They own the airspace. They own the water. They own the telecommunications, everything. And Iran is shooting back the best it can. Yeah. But that's going to be very inadequate very shortly because they're going to run out of missiles and they're going to run out of means of shooting the missiles.
Yeah. In fact, probably the one around the world that actually could reach the United States is probably the weapons they've been doing in North Korea. But there's no imminent danger even with that.
Well, the awakening of the other idea that they're going to awaken sleeper cells in the U.S., if those sleeper cells haven't done anything, haven't even knocked out one power station, one isolated little power station, you would think that would be maybe the first places they would go. They would start knocking out power stations or power grids, something of that kind. They would have disrupted some sort of communication towers, anything. They would have done something, anything to tell the world that they're there, and yet nothing has happened yet.
Yeah.
So there probably are sleeper cells in the U.S. How effective they're going to be, I don't know.
Yeah.
If they are, and I would say that whole thing is overstated. That's there for fear.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, Rick is saying gas prices will be going up soon. They've already gone up.
They've already gone up.
Yeah.
Right. In the United States, they've gone up.
Yes, they had
an average of 10 to 15 cents per gallon so far.
And yes, the Iranians had an underground nuclear power plant. We've known about that for more than 10 years. It was
they have nuclear power. That's the whole thing. That was part of their enrichment process, is to make look. Pakistan enriches uranium. They've got an atomic bomb, and they are a Sunni neighbor of Iran. So when you think of Iran, and you think, why would Iran want a nuclear bomb? Well, number one, they might want a nuclear bomb to protect themselves against Pakistan, which is a Sunni nation on its border, and it's armed with a nuclear bomb. I mean, everybody thinks they might want a nuclear bomb to sort of balance the nuclear bombs that are in Israel, but they also have a Sunni country on their border that's a nuclear power, Pakistan. So Pakistan enriches uranium for its nuclear programs. India does too. So obviously, Iran has nuclear power stations. It needs enriched uranium for peaceful purposes. The whole issue was how much of that was being used to then siphon off or for nuclear bombs. If you're Iran, you might think you might need a deterrent when you're surrounded by nuclear powers. You've got India, you've got Russia, you've got Israel. They all have got Pakistan. They've all got nuclear bombs, and they're your neighbors.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So we've got one more comment. Poland will want one too. Well, Poland already has, I think. Not sure. I don't know too much about Poland, but I don't believe there's any issues about Poles having nuclear power stations.
Poland has made the case that they might go for a nuclear weapon. Believe it or not, they have said that they may need a deterrent against Russia in the future. They have put out there they're happy being part of NATO, but what's happening in NATO now, and the U.S. position with NATO, they feel they may have to have their own deterrent as well. They're right on the border, very close to Russia. If Russia starts marching, Poland's going to be among the first to go.
And again, they're lucky insofar as today they've got Estonia and Latvia and those branch of nations that are a slight buffer to Russia.
Well, what are Poland borders Belarus, right? Am I right about that?
That is correct. Yes. Yeah.
So Belarus is just a client state of the USSR. So nothing's going to protect them from.
And I said, and remember, I used the word slight, right? Because I would think that Russian tanks could walk through those countries in a matter of days, if they so desired.
Yeah, it's all very flat land there, and that's the whole problem. That's what Russia's always been afraid of, and that's what the people who fear Russia are afraid of. So if Poland decides to get its own deterrent, an own nuclear bomb, it thinks that might help them hedge the possible attacks by Russia in the future. So they themselves can have their own tactical nuclear bombs.
All right. Well, I think it's time for us to say goodbye. We're going to be talking about St. Catherine's view on amalgamation tomorrow.
Yeah, I might. I didn't go through the agenda this week. I meant to. for our own meeting that happened on Tuesday here, and we should review the meeting a bit and see what's come up in Niagara Falls meeting.
Yeah.
Now, I normally do that with Paul, but he's in Florida and he's done it himself anyway. He's set out a show, although I didn't see much of it. I just only know that he did it.
He did the show in Florida. Okay. Good for him.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, Dave?
Without further ado, I bid you adieu. Remind you all of Gaza again. A lot of this so-called anti-Semitism. I don't know. I haven't heard any bad word about Jews myself in my own circle of people. The Israeli state, Zionism, yeah, maybe what they're doing in Gaza, yeah, lots of criticism of that, but not of Jews themselves. So, anyway, I like to bring that up, though. We don't want to forget about what's happened there and the long rehabilitation of that area. That remains to be seen. And the Board of Peace, I don't think it's doing much of its job. Anyway, without further ado, I bid you adieu.
Yeah. Have a great day, everybody.